राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So, welcome back to the Madhurya Kadambini discussions in the morning. We have completed the Pratama and the Dvitiya Vrishti, and after we completed these two, we felt the need that we should do an overview of both these Vrishtis, Amrita Vrishti. So, day before yesterday, we did the Pratama Vrishti overview. Yesterday, we could not have the class because of Ekadasi and other programs. So today we will be having the Dvitiya Vrishti overview. Again, let me chant the Mangalacharan before we begin. Ridva Prenava Bhakti Shasya Vitate Sanjeevani Swagama Rambe Kamatapatarudaha Damani Vishwakullasini Dhuran me Marushakinopi Sarasi भावाय भूयात् प्रभो श्री चैतन्य कृपा निरंकुशमः माधुर्य कादम्बिनी श्री चैतन्य कृपा निरंकुशमः माधुर्य कादम्बिनी भक्ति पूर्वेशतातां तु रसं पश्येद्यदत्तधि तं नौमि सततं रूप नाम प्रियजनं हरे. So in the Dvitiya Vrishti of the Madhurya Kadambini, after the uh, Parama Utkarshata or the preeminence of Bhakti has been established. That Bhakti is Nirgun Bhakti. And then how this development of Bhakti happens. The three stages are discussed in this Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha and Bhajan Kriya, as well as the divisions in the Bhajana Kriya. Firstly, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur makes a point that this is not a work on Mayavad refutation. Atra Madhura Kadambiniyam Dvait Advait Vad Vivadaro Navakasho Labante iti Kashchit Apekshniyas Chad Aishwarya Kadambiniyam Drishatam Nama. That in this there is no discussion of the Dvait Advait philosophy, but if one wants to know, then he should read the book Aishwarya Kadambini, composed by Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, where he has dealt with it. Now, why does Vishwanath Chakra Thakur mention this? Because ultimately, if we are still having the consciousness that the Absolute and me are one, Advaita, then there is no question of beginning of bhakti. There is Dvaita, there is difference, as Madhacharya makes it his two fingers, and there has to be bhakti. So this Siddhanta has to be solidly established. Of course, this book is lost, and there is another book called as Aishwarya Kadambini by Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, but that has the topics which are completely different from what here Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is mentioning. So from that we come to know that there are two books with the same title, one by Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, one by Baldev Vidyabhushan, and Vishwanath Chakra Thakur deals with the refutation of Mayavad. And of course, we should study this refutation of Mayavad as our foundational course in our beginning of Krishna consciousness, because it helps us to solidly be situated that I am a Jiva, part and parcel of Krishna, and my real goal of life is to Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nityadas. So that Siddhanta becomes very strong as we understand this Mayavad philosophy. So that is why Vishwanath Chandra Thakur is saying if you ought, you have to refer to that. And this we can do by studying the Sarvabhaum Samvad, the Prakashan Samvad, and especially in the Tattva Sambandha, in the Pramana Khanda, sorry, in the Pramaya Khanda. No, in the Pramana Khanda, I think, yeah. In the Vyas Mystic Vision, which Jiva Goswami has elaborately done this. So having mentioned that, he is going to only discuss in this Madhurya Kadambini the progressive stages in bhakti. Now, the two types of bhakti. इदानीं कर्ण केदराश केदरिकाशु प्रारुद्भावन्तास्तस्या एव भक्तिर् ज्ञानकर्माद्य अमिश्रित्वेन शुद्धया कल्पा वल्या अपि निरस्तान्य फलाभिसन्धित्येव धृतव्रतैर्मधुव्रतैरिव भावजनैर् आश्रयमाणाय सर्व विषया अनुकूल मूल प्राण स्वस्पर्शेन स्पर्शमणिर इव कर्णवृत्तिर अपि प्राकृत्व लोहतां क्षणेस् तजित्वा चिन्मयत्वं शुद्ध जम्बू न दतां प्रापयन्ताः कदली भावन्ते समुद्गच्छन्ताः साधना अभीखे द्वैपत्रिके व्री एते. So what is he mentioning? Idanim Karna Kedara Kashu. The bhakti, unalloyed devotion, evam bhakti, jnana karma aimishrit. So here it is very, very clear. The Shuddhaya Kalpa, that bhakti which is Shuddha is compared to the pure creeper, Kalpavalli. And it is unmixed with jnana and karma, and it is compared to a wish-fulfilling tree appearing in the field of the senses. Idanim karna kedari kashu prarudbhavantis. Prarudbhav means it appears or it manifests. So, very, very clearly, we had a very elaborate discussion on this, and I'm not going to go again on it. That if the seed is mixed, like nowadays you get, modified seeds, you all know that. And then there are the pure seeds which are kept. So the seed, as long as there is no fulfillment of the criteria of Anna Bilashata Shunyam and Jnana Karmadhyanamritam, it is Mishra. But moment we come to the adhikar of that pure Shraddha, the pure faith where there is a Anya Bilashata Shunyam, then that is the creeper of pure devotion. And this manifests in the field of the senses or the Antakaran, Kedari Kashu, Antakaran it is. And this bhakti is the shelter of fortunate devotees, which is like bees desiring to taste only nectar, who have vowed up to all desires except Bhagavan and bhakti. So how do we know that this is pure kripa? It is Dhritavrater, Madhuvrater iva, Bhava, Janer, Ashriyamana, and Vishaya Anukulya Mula Prana. It only, is only looking for Krishna and pure devotional service, bhakti. And the chitta doesn't go towards sense objects at all. So that's why it is, Shuddha Bhakti, beginning of practice of Shuddha Bhakti. And Swasparshena, Sparshamani Riva, Karna Vrittir Api, Prakrita Lohatam Shanesh. So this creeper, the very life of this creeper is favorable loving service to the Lord. It is like a touchstone. This creeper of bhakti eventually transforms the iron-like material nature of the senses into most pure gold, transcendental gold. And gradually the sadhana bhakti creeper spouts and unfolds two leaves. So just like when that Shuddha bhakti manifests, then suddenly there is a sprout and there are two leaves. And one leaf is called as Tayo Pratama Kleshagni, Dvitaya Shubha Deeti. And the first is called Kleshagni, the destroyer of material sufferings. And the second is called Shubha, the giver of all auspiciousness. द्वयोरपि तयोर अंतस्तु संबंध स्निग्धतया च प्रापुत्कर्षे देशे राग नामनो राज्ञा एव अधिकारी. Now, these two leaves, one is it is Kleshagni, the second is Shubhada. Now I have put it in the picture here. Yeah. It is one leaf is Kleshagni, other leaf is Shubhada. Now, of course, both these leaves have the upper portion and the lower portion. Generally, our experience is that the upper portion is soft, the lower portion is rough. But Vishwanath Chandra Thakur is mentioning of this soft creeper which has come out. Initially, actually, the upper portion is uh, uh, upper portion is soft, the lower portion is one second. I got confused. Just a minute. Uh, what does he say? The inner surface of the two leaves. The inner. So the inner surface he's saying is actually smooth and the outer is rough. So external activities of sadhana bhakti in the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti are, compared to that. So that's what he says here. And then भयस्तु तस्मात् भारत समात् सर्वात् भारत सर्वात्मा इत्यादि शास्त्र प्रवर्तकत्वे लक्षण पौरुष्याभासेन प्रियादि शुद्ध शुद्ध अभावात् स्वतः एवाति स्निग्धतया अनुदेन पूर्वत किंचित अप्रकृष्ट देशे वैदि नामनो अपरस्य राज्ञा. So uh, the now the outer surface, which our experience is soft, but he's saying it is rough, and that is compared to Vaidhi Bhakti, and he quotes Tasmat Bharat Sarvatma. And for this, he had quoted. Oh, we did not read this verse. Uh, it is Chaikanya, it is soft. Esha Maham Priya Atmasuta. Krishna is my lover, Krishna is my son, Krishna is my friend. So there is a very snigdha relationship, spontaneous, very smooth, born out of greed. And it is superior due to its appearance of the pure affectionate relationship with the Lord as described here. I am their dear life, everything. The outer surface of the leaf is ruled by another king known as Vaidi. It is slightly rough in nature, the sign of it being born from the injunctions of scripture. Tasmat Bharat, oh, if I don't perform bhakti, then I have fear of samsar. Iti Shastra Pravritta Katva Lakshanam. Because of, I have to attend Mangal Arati and follow these regulative principles. It's not out of love that we are doing it. We are doing it because the spiritual master has instructed, our counselor has instructed. Like that. Kleshagna Shubhatatvabhyam tu prayas tayor na kopi vishesha. However, both Raga and Vaidhi almost equally manifest in symptoms of Kleshagni and Shubhada. Simultaneously, we see that our papas start getting destroyed and we start feeling bliss in Krishna consciousness. So simultaneously, this is what happens. So this is one of the most important paragraphs, and I'm not going into the elaborate discussion. Very briefly, we are touching on upon it. I hope it is clear to you all. And we have elaborately discussed this. Oh, now we have to go to text 3. Text 3. But if you have questions, I can always take up. Please feel free. Oh, where is text 3? Text 2. Text 3. Yeah, sadhana bhakti's attributes kleshagni and shobhata. Yeah, okay. Tatra, now he goes into the attributes. Tatra avidya smita raga dvesha abhiniveshaha panchaklesha प्रारब्ध अप्रारब्ध रूढ़ बीज पापादयस्तन्मया एव. Kleshas are of five types: avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesh. The four types of sins, prarabdha, aprarabdha, rudha, and bija, are also included in klesha. So, what is kleshagni? Kleshagni means not just sufferings, but the causes of sufferings. And these causes of sufferings are because of avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, and abhinivesh. And we have discussed this from the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, each of the definitions. So, again, I'm not going to go into it. And once we commit a sin, then that sinful reaction goes through four stages: aprarabdha, kutam, bijam, and prarabdha. So these are also causes of klesha. So bhakti destroys avidya, bhakti destroys prarabdha, aprarabdha, ruda, bija, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesh, everything it destroys. But gradually, just like there are 1,000 leaves and you pierce a needle, although the action is like, one, but if you see very minutely, the needle is passing through one leaf after another leaf. So gradually it happens. Shubha refers to the qualities such as disinterest in material affairs. Shubhani durvishaya vaitarshna. Bhagavat vishaya satrishna anukula kripa anukula. And interest in Lord, serving the Lord favorably. And also means that you have developed these qualities: kripa, shama, satya, saralya, samya, dhirya, gambhirya, manat, manadatva, amanitva, sarva, saubhagyatwadayo gunascha. Forgiveness, truthfulness, straightforwardness, evenness of temper, steadiness, gravity, respectfulness, humility, all good fortune, and so on. Sarve gunes tatra samasate sura. He quotes this. The Bhagavad says all good qualities of the Lord as well as the demigods reside within the devotees. Itya adi drishtya geya. So again, we have gone into the Kleshagni and Shubhada quite in detail. So again, I will not go into it. But if you have any questions, I am happy to answer. And here we had mentioned who is practicing a Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. Anyone has idea? How do you understand that somebody has come to the point of practicing Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti? How can we understand that? How can we understand that? Anyone? If you remember, we had an elaborate, almost a class discussion on this. At least how many stages are there before we come to Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti? Who will answer this? Who will answer this? Who will answer this? No one. Nobody remembers this. Bir Krish Prabhuji. Chakram Prabhuji. Chakram Prabhuji. Yes.
One first Abbas. First was
Pardon?
Abbas. Abbas.
Yes, it is Abbas Bhakti or it is called as Ashuddha Sadhana Bhakti. Very nice. And then when you fulfill the secondary criterias, secondary qualities, the secondary characteristics of Uttama Bhakti definition, that is Kleshagni and Shubhada. Sorry, Anyabhilashita Shunyam and Jnana Karmadyam Namartam. Then you become qualified for Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. And how you understand that you should develop these qualities. If we have these qualities, then we can understand. And we quoted the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu for that. All these qualities which are mentioned. These are qualities there in the Lord, and devotees also minutely develop, these qualities. And when you have developed these qualities, that means you are practicing Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. So the next text is the uneven development of devotion and removal of Kleshagni and attainment of Shubhada. So here he makes a little point, a very important point. Bhakti Pareshanubhava Virakti Anyatra Chaisha Trita Ekakala from the Bhagavad Puran. Iti Ukta Prakarena Yugapat Api Pravrittayor Api Tayo Patrikayor Udgama Taratamyena Tathad Ashubha Nivritti Shubha Pravritti Taratamyad Astya eva krama. Sa chati shukshmo durlaksho api tad karya darshan lingena sudibir avasiyate. Shastras say devotion, realization of the Lord, and detachment to the objects other than the Lord. All these three symptoms simultaneously appear in devotee. So there is simultaneous appearance of Kleshagni and Shubhada. Just like, this verse which is quoted, Bhakti Pareshanubhav Viraktir Anyatra Chaishatrita Ekakala Prapadyamanasya Yatashnata Tushti Pushti Shuddhapayano Kasam. That when we eat every morsel of food, we get tushti, satisfaction, we get strength, pushti, and we get mitigation of hunger. All the three happen simultaneously. And when all these three are happening simultaneously, it's not that just one morsel is doing. Every morsel, every grain is also doing that. So, similarly, with the practice of bhakti, Shubhada and Kleshagni is simultaneously happening. This is the point. And how it is happening? Taratamena. This verse confirms the simultaneous appearance of the two leaves, Kleshagni and Shubhana, on the vine of devotion as described previously. So this verse proves that although the two leaves appear simultaneously, there is difference in the process of subtle destruction of distress and appearance of auspiciousness. So there is difference also, like one leaf can be a little bigger, another leaf can be smaller. We have all seen this, and one leaf might start growing bigger, other leaf might start growing small, grow a little slowly. So all this is there. The difference is to appearance of the greater and lesser qualities of the two symptoms. Taratamena. If somebody is very sinful and he has taken into bhakti, maybe his kleshagni is happening first. If somebody is very pious, then his, that is also destruction has to happen, but it is easier, for that. And then if somebody is, like that, so it will vary and it's very subtle. This difference is due to appearance. Being very subtle, ati sukshma, it is very difficult to see, durlakshopi. But learned scholars have ascertained this fact by observing the process of appearance of the two qualities. But learned scholars can understand that. So this is a very, very important clarification he gives about the. Then he comes to the first stage of development of Shraddha. So in Shraddha, there are two levels I had discussed. Anyone will tell us which are the two levels? This is a very recent discussion which has happened in the in the Dvitiya Vrishti discussion. So who will tell us? There are two levels we discussed. What does Shraddha mean? Anyone? Prasanna Lakshmi Mataji, yes.
So, so one is we do it spontaneously, other one we do it forcibly.
And that is later on later on he clarifies that this Shraddha is, uh, uh, Swabhaviki and Balo Utpadita. But Shraddha means what? What is Shraddha? How does Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur define Shraddha? Anyone? How does Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur define Shraddha? Yes, Vinita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Firm faith,
Firm faith. What does it mean?
Sudruda Nishchaya,
Sridhara Nishchaya. But how does Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur say? What is this? Shastrartha Vishwas. Firm faith in what? In the teachings of the Shastra. In the teachings of the Shastra, there is firm faith. We have firm faith in materialism also. We have firm faith in demigod worship also. But it is firm faith in, and not only that, the second aspect is that having that faith, you firmly follow the injunctions of the Shastra. So both these constitute Shraddha. So these are the two things which he says. Tatra bhakti adhikarina pratamam shraddha. There is adhikar for practicing bhakti. But here bhakti means Shuddha bhakti. To practice, come to bhakti and start bhakti, there is no adhikar required. Nar matrasya. But to practice Shuddha bhakti, there is adhikar, and that is Shraddha. Sacha tatcha shastrartha drid pratyaya mai प्रक्रम यमान यत्नेक निधान रूप तद विषयकत्वे निर्वाह रूप सादर स्पृहाच. First, Shraddha, the faith appears in the person qualified for bhakti. Shraddha means to have firm faith in the purport of the scriptures related to bhakti. That means you should study the scriptures and you have to understand the deep meaning of the scriptures. In other words, the desire to attentively follow the process of devotion as described in the scriptures with enthusiasm is called Shraddha. Utsaha. This utsaha is not, false enthusiasm. This utsaha is, as Rup Goswami has mentioned, utsaha nishchay dhairyat. That's endeavor executed with intelligence. That is in the mode of goodness. So this is that Shraddha. They are of two types. Sacha, Dveda, Swabhaviki and Balutpadita. So this is what we had discussed about Shraddha. And again, cannot go into this discussion of the Shraddha, we mentioned this Purna Shraddha. So we study the Shastras and gradually there is a development of faith. And when we come to the point of Sarva Dharman Parityajya, that Tavat Karmani Kriyata Shraddha Yavanna Jayate Mat Katha Shravanado Shraddha Yavanna, like so like that, when we come to that point, then there is complete development of Shraddha, and this becomes the entry door for practicing Shuddha Bhakti. There is faith, practice, then there is firm faith, and then Bhava and Prema. So we saw that. And when we saw the definition of also from the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the Shraddha, Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Sudhrida Nishchay. This is the first aspect of Shraddha, Shastrartha. And then there is the second aspect, to follow the process very diligently. If you have faith and you are not following the injunctions, that means still you are lacking Shraddha. And with respect to the second aspect of Shraddha, we quoted Jiva Goswami's, that this is Shastriya Shraddha. And Shraddha is synonymous to Sharnagati. And there is natural, Swabhaviki and Balatpadita. We saw this also. Baladitpata will not lead to practice of Shuddha Bhakti also. We have to understand that. Okay. So yeah. And there is Vichar Pradhan and Ruchi Pradhan. So Vichar Pradhan, ultimately we have to come to Ruchi Pradhan. So we saw that by studying Shastra, Shastra Artha Vishwas, Vichar Pradhan, it is Vichar Pradhan. We have seen that. So again, I'm not going to go into it. Now, then comes Sadhu Sangha. Tatyascha Ashrita Guru Charanasya Tasya Jigyasamana Sadacharasya Taj Chikshaiva Sajati Ashay Stingda Bhakti Abhigya Sadhu Sangha Bhaguday. After attaining faith, Shraddha, one takes shelter of Guru and inquires about the rules and regulations of devotional process. Jigyasamana Sadacharasya. By following them, that Shikshayeva, one gets fortune of associating with soft-hearted realized sadhus endowed with similar mood. So then we get the association of very, very exalted sadhus who are sajati, who are snigdha. That is real bhagavade. So there are two levels of sadhu sangha we spoke. What are the two levels of sadhu sangha? Anyone remembers? Raise your hands. What are the two levels of the sadhu sangha we spoke? Shri Lalita Sumukhi Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, you were telling that in the initial stages, because of the reverence and respect we have for them, that
I think basically it was quotation given by Jiva Goswami. It's not my saying, it is Jiva Goswami saying. Yeah,
But
continue.
yeah, so that first initial stages, because we are new and we have lot of respect and we believe in them fully, then that time we associate, that is the first type of sadhu sangha. And then during full purna shraddha we get association of uh, sadhu, right? During
Yes,
when we have
initially
Shudda
we
bhakti.
hear from the sadhus. Yeah, initially we hear from the sadhus, that is Ado stage. And there is a
Yeah.
development of faith comes. And then we associate with other devotees to understand more the subject from we hear from the Shastra, we study from the Bhakti Shastri teachers. And like that, our faith, when it gets solidified, and then either the teachers or the spiritual master or a very exalted sadhu, we now associate to how now to execute Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. There that bhajan kriya begins. There the bhajan kriya begins. So this is the two levels, yes, very nicely brought out. These are the two levels which spoke about, you know. And again, I'm just going to quote this. Ado pratama sadhu sangha shastra shravan dwara shraddha tad artha vishwas. In the beginning, there is sadhu sangha by which we are developing shraddha. Tata pratamantaram dvitiya sadhu sangha bhajan riti shiksha nibandha. There is the second level of sadhu sangha where how to do bhajana, of Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. So this is what is the most important point we need to take away from this particular paragraph. Of course, all these qualities of the disciple and the spiritual master we have discussed. So I'm not going to go into this. Okay. Yes. Now the next is the very interesting stage, which is the long stage, which is called as the Bhajan Kriya. Actually, I was mentioning that once uh, in our beginning stages of Mishra Bhakti also, we when we are here, we experience the reflection of all these six stages. But for many years, we are stuck. But when we come to this point and take this kind of sadhu association, this bhajan kriya, these stages we go through very, very fast. Very fast we go through them. And the anarth nivriti also very happens fast. Here also anarth nivriti is happening. No tea, no coffee, no smoking cigarette, all that we leave. But these are not the anarthas which Vishwanath Chakravarti is speaking, which will be destroyed in the Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. And we are going to begin that tomorrow. What are the anarthas? We will see that. So we experience a mere reflection of these bhajan kriya six stages we go through, but actually what they are also uh, uh, Vishwanath Chakravarti brings out bhajan kriya. Vida, Anishtita, Nishtita. There is the Nishtita and the Anishtita. Tatta Pratamam Anishtita, Karmain Utsahi Mai, Ghanatarala, Vyuda Vikalpa, Vishaya Sangra, Niyamakshama, Tarangarangini, Shadvida, Bhavantiti, Swadwaram Vilakshate. The next stage is Bhajan Kriya, or the practice of different devotional items. It is of two types, Anishtita, Nishtita. Anishtita Parajipika gradually appears in six stages. Gradually again here. Utsamai, Ghanatarala, Vyudavikalpa, Vishaya Sangra, Niyamakshama, and Tarangarangini. These stages accordingly mark the devotees with their respective symptoms. So, Utsamai stage is a stage where initially one feels that I'm a scholar, you know. I've taken up to Bhakti and I'm a scholar and I will, of course, will not go through this. Yeah, Utsamai. There is enthusiasm, newfound enthusiasm, newfound love. He takes up to study and he wants everyone to praise him. So this is seen in his bhajan. So this is temporary enthusiasm. That's what Utsamai is. And then there is the Ghanatarala. So that Utsamai stage doesn't stay for long. Ata Ghanatarala. The same student, when he engages attentively in studies, understand the purpose of the scriptures. Prakramyamana bhakti angani kadachit nirvahanti kadachit. cha na veti ghanatvam taratvam chasya yato bhato shastrabhyasa kadachit sandra kadachit tatartha pravesh asamartaya sarasya anudhena shitilascha. So he understands the meaning of the scriptures, he feels overjoyed, but at certain times he becomes slack, being unable to understand the meaning of the scriptures and enjoy their taste. Similarly, devotee sometimes practices different parts of devotion attentively, but other times becomes slack, being sometimes attentive, thick, sometimes slack, thin. This stage is known as Gandatarla. So thick and thin, hot and cold, He's very enthusiastic. When he attends the Janmashtami festival and whole day he'll chant. And next day, after the festival, his enthusiasm comes down. He's not able to chant his 16 rounds also, or 4 rounds also, like that. Ghanatharala is explained. Okay. And then there is Vyuda Vikalpa. Vyuda Vikalpa I mentioned is, hearing the meaning of the Shastras. Oh, let me do my bhajan in Vrindavan, give up my family, and attain pure devotion. Ekagra. Oh, then who will look after my family? You know, I have not still enjoyed my senses. Let me enjoy the senses and develop detachment towards them. Then let me go to Vrindavan. And then he reads one more verse that Maharaj Bharat in young age left and went. And then he says, oh, without his six senses controlled, he goes, then he'll go in Andakupam like that. So many lectures, hearing here and there, not understanding the deeper meaning of the Shastra. His intelligent oscillates, viewed vikalpa. Yeah? He's indecisive about it. So, viewed vikalpa. Shall I serve the Lord while blissfully residing at home, making my wife and children Vaishnavas, or shall I give everything up and peacefully reside in meditation center Sri Vrindavan, engaging in devotional practices such as Shravan and Kirtan without disturbance? In this way, I shall become successful. So, this is first his thought. किम अहम स परिग्रह एव पुत्र कलात्रिज्ञ वैष्णवीकृत्य भगवत परिचारयाम नियोज्य ग्रह एव सुखम तम भजे किम वा सर्वान एव परित्यज्य निविक्षिप श्री वृंदावनम ध्यानस्थानम एवासीन कीर्तन श्रवणादि भी कृतार्थ अभिभावेम. So he is not able to decide. सच त्याग किम भुक्त भोगस्य अवगत विषय विषम विषय द्वतयोर मम चरम दशयाम एव किम वदूनेव समुचित इति. Then again he thinks, if I have to renounce, it would be better first to realize the miseries of sense enjoyment by enjoying my senses. Then I can renounce at the final stage. Why should I do it now? Then Kimcha tam ikshed atmano mrityum trunakupa ivavrita. Then again he hears from the scripture that women are to be seen as blind wells covered with grass. They are unseen death. Yopayati shaner maya yoshideva vinirmita tam ikshatmano mrityum trunakupam ivavritam. Maya in the form of woman, Maya Yoshita, created by the Lord, approaches a man gently. Upayati shane. One should see her as death. Tam ikshita atmano mrityum, like a well covered with grass. Trina avrita kupam iva. So he sees this. Then iti drishta ashramasya vashasyata yotushtajan dharasutam. Therefore, one should not place one's faith in household life. One should renounce it at once, like Maharaj Bharat, who renounced it like stool, although you're still young and all the wife and children are hard to give up. Yo dushtajan dharasutan suradrajam mridi sprusha jaho yueva malavad uttam shloka lalasaya. Maharaj Bharat, who longed to serve the Lord, gave up his wife, sons, friends, and kingdom as if they were stool, malavat, though they were touching to the heart, and it does difficult to give up at the young age. Actually, the sweet voice of the children are so touching to the heart of the parents. The sweet voice of the wife, it is so touching to the heart of the husband. Very difficult to give up, but he gave up. But of course, Maharaj Bharat had developed a deep attraction for the Lord. That's why he was naturally able to give up. So he could not understand the meaning, deeper import of the meaning of the Shastra. And that's why, superficially hearing these classes, he is not able to decide. He's oscillating. Itra atra jaho yueva malavat iti drishya adi drishya tyakta vilambas tatrapi ahome pitrom vriddha. So he's thinking, let me give up now, as Maharaj Bharat. But then he hears another verse. Other scriptural reference says, my mother and father are both old. Oh, when one renounces household life, before being fully satiated, one only thinks of it and enters into the darkness after that. Aho me pitro vriddha bharya balatmajatmaja anata mamrite dina katam jivvanti dukkhita. Oh, my poor elderly parents, oh, my wife with a mere infant, oh, my young children, without me, they have no one to protect them and will suffer unbearably. How can I live without me? So, that affection, sneha bandham idam jagat, that affection, bodily and bodily connections, is very deep rooted. So, if you go also, that affection you are carrying. So, you are there doing a bhajan, but your heart affection is here. So, this will happen if I do what should I do? Iti atra atriptastan anudhyanan mrito andam vishatama. Then he hears this evam griya shipta hridayo mudadhirayam atriptastam anudhyanan mrito andam vishatetama. Thus, because of his foolish mentality, a householder whose heart is overwhelmed by family attachment is never satisfied. Constantly meditating on his relatives, he dies and enters into the darkest ignorance. Oh, if I, think about, my relatives, but this verse is saying, if you're, moodadhi, if you're moodadhi, then you'll go into darkness. So he's not able to resolve the contradictions in the Shastra and come to what is called as the Siddhanta. Because still he has not got that Shastra marma, understanding of the marma. Iti bhagavad vyakyana tyaga labdas balascha samprapta eva pranadharan matra vrittir vanam tadeva pravishyastav eva yamam abhyarta ya niti. These words are spoken by the Lord himself, and that does not encourage me to renounce. Now I can somehow maintain myself. Later I will duly enter into the forest and worship Krishna around the clock. So like that, he has to take the uh, take the assistance of the Shiksha Gurus and the Diksha Gurus and understand his situation. And then they will be able to guide. Otherwise, his intelligence is always oscillating like this. And then actually, real thing is not to develop Vairagya, but Bhakti. Jnana and Vairagya will automatically develop. So instead of renouncing and going to Vrindavan, one should practice Bhakti. And when natural renunciation will come, then it will happen on its own. So this is the real conclusion. Na jnanam cha vairagyam prayoshraya bhavati. Itya atra tu vairagyasya bhakti janatve eva dosha na tu bhakti janatatve iti tad anubhava rupataya tad adhinatvam iti. Therefore, okay, this verse I'm just reading. Tasmat mad bhakti yuktasya yogino vaimadatmaka atmana na jnanam na cha vairagya praya shreyo bhavetiha. Therefore, for the devotee engaged in bhakti with mind fixed on me, the cultivation of knowledge and renunciation is generally not beneficial. Na prayo shayad bhayavidya. Besides, the scriptures also say, through knowledge and renunciation alone, one cannot arouse devotion to Krishna. Iti atra vairagyas bhakti janakatve eva dosha. Actually, devotion should not be caused by renunciation, but renunciation should be caused by devotion. Bhakti janatve iti tad anubhava rupatya tad adhinatvam. And through such renunciation, devotion is experienced, and it is proven that how renunciation is subservient to devotion. So this conclusion of the Shastras, takes time to understand. Yad ashama agat sa bhikshukas tad anna paripurnam aikshata iti nyayana katachit vairagyam. There's a popular saying, in whatever ashram the mendicant went, he saw that there was plenty to eat, so that again creates the plan to renounce household life. Other scriptural statements again condone household life by saying, only as long as one is not Krishna conscious, attachments will be like thieves and the home will be like prison. Tavad ragadayastena tavad karagraham graham, like that. This verse is there. This is Vedkali. Then one again may wonder, shall I do kirtan? Shall I hear katha? Shall I render some practical service? Iti kadachit gharyastam na nishchinvan kim aham kirtanam kim va katha shravanam api tu sevanam eva utaho. So like that, he's not able to. So the intelligence is oscillating between these probabilities, parading possibilities, and because the intelligence is not pure, actually by going through all these oscillations, slowly the oscillation will stop and it will come in the center when the Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Ekehi Kurunandana happens. And when that Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Ekehi Kurunandana happens, then we understand the meaning of the scriptures. And then Shruti Vipra Pratipannate Yada Stasasi Nischala Samado Achala Buddhi Tada Yogam Avapsasi. So then you have attained yoga, as in 2.54 Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned. So till then you are oscillating, and that is because of the internal purification of the antakaran, of the intelligence which is happening. Tavad Ambrish Dviyat Anekangam Eva Bhaktim Karavai, or shall I practice like Amara Ambrish? Ityadi Vivida Eva Prapta Vikalpa Yatra Bhavan iti Vivida Vikalpa. While doing bhajan, such speculations may take place. They are called as Vivida Vikalpa. So that's Vivida Vikalpa. I am not going into the discussion, but quite elaborately I discussed this now. Okay, we have Vivida Vikalpa. Then the next is the Vishaya Sangara. The Vishaya Sangara. Ata Vishaya Sangara. Vishaya Vishtachittanam Vishnu Avesha Sudurata Varuni Diggatam Vastu Vrajan Aindrim Kim Apnuya. In the Shastra it is said, a person engrossed in sensuality is deprived of Vishnu consciousness, just as a person going to the east can never reach something situated in the west. According to the text, objects of sensual when opposing attachment towards the Lord are forcibly attracting me towards them and impairing my absorption and decision. So I will take shelter of the holy name and give all of them. And we quoted this Jishamansa Tata Kaman Parityag Ani Shwara. So this is a classic sentence of a Vaidhi Sadhaka Bhakta, and we've seen this. The Lord says the devotee who is unable to give us sense enjoyment enjoys it while condemning himself. Because anarth nivritti is happening, the senses are still not pure. Thus, the devotee fights a battle, sangra, with the sense objects, sometimes being defeated by them and sometimes conquering them. Such a stage is called bhajan kriya or vishaya sangra. So we saw the tug of war between the soul and the impure intelligence, impure mind, and the senses and sense objects. So this is the vishaya sangra. And then niyamakshama. Niyamakshama is what? That I take vows. Akshama. Akshama means I'm not able to fulfill because again the heart is not pure. Now the stage Niyamakshama is discussed. Adyarabhya imani namani grihityavani etavatascha pranata karya itham eva tad bhaktya api sevini. In this stage, a devotee decides, from today I will chant such and such quote of japa and will pay so many obeisances. I will also serve the devotees. Bhagavat asambandha vachopi now charniya grama varta vatam sannidas tektva vagata. I will not talk about anything related to the Lord. I will give up all association of persons engaged in mundane talks. Ityadi pratidinam api pari Jyatopi samaye tata na shamatvam iti niyamakshama. Though the devotee makes such vows every day, he is unable to carry them out. This stage is called niyamakshama, inability to carry out. And what is the difference between Vishaya Sangrayam and Niyamakshama? Vishaya Sangrayam, Vishaya Tyag Ashamatvam Atrato Bhakti Utkarsha ashamatvam iti bheda. The difference between Vishaya Sangra and Niyamakshama is that in Vishaya Sangra is the inability to give encouragement, whereas Niyamakshama is the inability to carry out the vows made for progress and devotion. And then we saw the last one, that is Tarangarangini. Ata Tarangarangini Bhakti Swabhava Evayam Tadvati Sarvepi Jana Anurajjantiti Jananuraga Prabhava iti Sampada iti Pracham Vachopi. It is well established that people become attracted possessively due to Bhakti's very nature, Swabhava. And as the populist saying goes, by attracting the populace, one becomes wealthy. People will start coming and giving you donation, and you'll start using it for yourself. Bhakti produces much opportunity for material gain, worship and position. Pujala Pratishta. These are weeds around the creeper. Bhaktya Uthasya Vibhutishu La Puja Pratishtadi Valli Valita Shupa Upashakasu Tarangeshu Ivacharantya Asya Rangini iti Tarangangi. Engaging oneself in this pleasure seeking Ranga amidst these wild like facilities, weed like facilities, is but a small waves Taranga in the ocean of Bhakti and is called Tarangarangini, delighting in material opportunities. Tarangarangini is quite simple. All the fringe benefits of Bhakti you start getting, people will come and glorify what a wonderful class you gave. And people will come and give donation, they'll offer respects, and you think they're all doing it for you, but actually the bhakti which is there in your heart, it is because of that it is happening, and you start relating to that. That's a misconception. So one of the sannyasis, while his sannyas initiation was going on, the sannyasi who was giving the sannyas initiation told the sannyasi that now we are giving this danda and people will offer respects. Don't think they're offering to you, they're offering to the danda. So all that puja, la, pratishtha you're getting, it's because of bhakti which is there, not because of you. So we have to have this clear understanding. Bhakti, okay, we have seen this. So I'm not going into all the qualities of this. And then this was the last one, yeah, Tarangarangini. So these are the 6 stages of Artha Bhajan Kriya, which we quite elaborately discussed. Now, from tomorrow onwards, we will be discussing the Anarth Nivritti. Practically, if we discuss the Anarth Nivritti is one of the biggest Amrita Vrishti in the Madhurya Kadambini, and it is very deeply discussed by Vishwanath Chakra Thakur. And it's like completing 75% of the syllabus. The remaining, is very, very short. Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti is very short, and it will not take much time. Bhava and Prema, we need not discuss also. So, Anarth Nivritti, we will start elaborately discussing from the next class. So, any questions, any clarifications anyone has, you can raise your hands. Any questions, any clarifications? Vinita Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, I've understood that what all you explained now, but still that oscillation between service to Lord and service to home is a daily practice. Like
It's
that
a
feeling,
daily.
it's a daily practice. Like I feel it many times
It's
a
a
day.
daily. It's a daily event which happens. Okay.
Yes, so sometimes I feel I'm not doing justice to either.
Yeah. So what's the
So
question?
how do we overcome this, like this feeling or
See, basically, this is going to continue. We have to understand and not too much get caught up in it. By superior guidance, we have to learn the art of balancing. We need to balance our family duties and balance our devotional practices. Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. If you do too much of your homework, housework, and you neglect bhakti, then you will feel bad. If you do too much bhakti, the family members will feel bad. They will, so you will be always in dukkha then. But best is you balance it. And you need to learn the art of balancing. And even Kunti Maharani has this problem. She goes through this emotional conflict in one of her prayers. Ata Vishveshwa Vishvatman Vishvamurti. Ata Vishveshwa Vishvatman Sneha Bandam. Dridishu Vishnushu Pandishu. My affection, Kunti is actually having darshan of Krishna. She's a pure devotee, please remember. And she's telling, please stay back here. Now, if you stay back here with my sons, Pandavas, it will give us happiness, we can serve you. But the Dwarkavasis will be bereft of your association, and she's connected to them also. She has a family connection. So she's feeling bad that, Dwarkavasi is missed. And if the Dwarkavasi Krishna goes to Dwarka, then she will be bereft of, her association with her children. So she's thinking both from the familial connection with her sons, the Pandus in Hastinapur, and her familial connection with the Dwarka, Vasudev. She's connected to Vasudev, right? So like that, she's going through this emotional conflict. But this emotional conflict is happening on a transcendental platform, and this is giving rise to rasa, bliss. But the same thing happens to us in the material platform, but that doesn't give to rise to bliss, it gives rise to anxiety. So in the material realm, we need to learn the art of balancing. That's the only solution. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. And yes,
Yeah.
I got it.
Any other questions anyone has? Okay, so we will stop here today. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Shri Madhurya Kadambini ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Hare Krishna.